taking your sweet ass time like you a diva and shit. And the fuck?
Bitch, I am a diva. The fuck?
In your dreams?
You ain't no diva. Don't sue me, Beyonce. Ooh, oh my God. Eddie poured me wine. Now, you know what? All is forgiven.
Fuck you. My name is Eddie.
And I'm Omari.
And we are the two voices of the week.
Stark Natives, our culture unfiltered.
Discussing the way of this world.
And the next.
Two voices.
Two voices.
Queer.
Queer.
Candid.
Candid.
Discussing the way of this world and the next.
Discussing the ways of this world and the next. Discussing the ways of this world
Candid.
and the next.
Discussing the way of this world.
Discussing the ways of this world and the
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Spoilers, bitch.
Spoilers. Very big spoilers.
Spoilers, bitch. You
Okay.
will get the ending of the movie.
Yes. We are doing another Cinema Week
review
of
HIS HOusE,
yes.
which is available on Netflix. This is not a paid advertisement. Netflix pay me.
But mind you, somebody over here watched the movie during the day.
I watched it, didn't I?
Still,
Okay.
he was afraid of the empath. That's what
No,
it
bitch,
was.
that's
Okay,
not-
he knew
That's
that
a
he was.
motherfucking lie. I didn't
Okay,
slander my name
that's
in the
why
fucking
he
thing.
didn't
Like,
want to
bitch,
watch
you
it at
what?
night because he knew that a path was gonna be.
Anyways, HIS HOusE. HIS HOusE is about a husband and a wife
Yes.
who are refugees. They are trying to escape, the war-torn South Sudan. They were trying to go to London, to
Mhm.
England. It was them and their daughter. And their daughter, unfortunately, she drowned.
You know, they go to this routine about trying to get asylum and everything. And what I didn't like is that it was kind of like a provisional period.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way that they were saying was not asylum. It was like, I don't know. I really just didn't like the way that they saying.
Because they
then-
treated them like they were immigrants.
Yeah.
They
Well,
treated
they
them
were
poorly,
immigrants,
though.
but very
Like,
poorly.
yeah.
Yeah. And then not only that, it's like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's like,
So many restrictions.
yes, so many restrictions, no way for you to like survive. But what I didn't like is like, okay, so you're letting them come in
Mhm.
to be here, but you don't let them support themselves or like
Yeah,
find
like,
ways
they
to
give you,
support
like-
themselves. But we cannot give them that like
What, like
we
300 pounds or something
yeah
like that?
something like that.
It's like you can't get a job because they're
Yeah.
going to give you money.
Mhm.
And if you do anything outside of that, they will deport you.
Yeah,
And it's like, wait a minute.
like
So
well,
basically, I got to be here. I can't complain.
Mhm.
I can't try to do something better for myself. I have to rely on y'all.
yeah,
And if any event that y'all don't do what y'all supposed to do, I'm supposed to just sit here and take it. Or if I don't want to take it, then y'all going to deport me.
pretty much.
Which is kind of interesting because it kind of makes you think about like,
Not only that, the other part that I didn't like is like, oh, so you're telling me that we are letting them come in.
Mhm.
We are the ones that kind of paying for them, supporting them, but they cannot find a way to support themselves.
Right.
It's like the fuck.
right.
So I'm like,
It's
whatever.
it almost gives like it kind of feels like, damn, bitch, do you even want me here?
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like that, like, but I think what was interesting about the movie that it did kind of hold a mirror to like how things are, how people treat
Mhm.
immigrants, how people treat people who are different from them. You know, like
Yes.
xenophobia, even like gentrified areas or like low
Mhm.
income areas, and how like people treat people in those kind of areas.
Yes.
Almost like you shouldn't even complain because you should just be proud or
Mhm.
happy to have something.
Something. Mhm.
And it's like, no.
And then they saying, oh, you have a bigger house. Like you have a bigger house than most people. But when you go to the house is like
trash.
run down, like trash with like whoever was sleeping there did not really care for the house.
It looks
like
like
a
a kind of house
dumpster.
that like it's in the process of getting fixed, but
Mhm.
nobody's ever coming to actually complete
Yeah.
the job.
Pretty much.
It's just like, girl, wait, what?
Yeah.
So they move into this house, and the house, it starts like weird stuff just starts happening.
Yeah, like weird stuff, creepy stuff.
shit.
like
Like seeing like weird
the-
shadows and shit.
Yeah, and then I really like when they were, you know that you're always afraid of the dark,
Yeah.
right? You're always afraid of turning off the light and running. Like you need to run quick because something's gonna grab you.
Right.
They play so much into that in this movie that I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the other part too was like when you are in the dark, you know, like let's say that you're in your room and it's dark, and you start like looking somewhere and you start kind of like creating this weird shadow and everything, then in reality it's just clothes.
Yeah.
But you're kind of creating this monster yourself. That is another thing that they played into this movie that I really, really fucking loved, because it's like, it's not just like a regular horror movie. It's very horror. It's very like supernatural kind of thing, but it kind of made me love it in the sense of like come back to horror films and horror movies. Since I love horror,
because the whole thing wasn't like, it wasn't like, you remember there was this one time at like during horror films there was always like these jump scares. Like it was really cheap jump scares. But this movie actually feels very creepy because it feels so rooted in reality. There was one moment there's like this shout and it's like, I'm like, the fuck is that? I know. At first it seems like it's just kind of like random.
It kind of
like
random.
It's like happening to anybody who would come there or something like that.
True, but it's kind of like more towards him than her. But it also looks like the house, this house that they came in.
It's almost like you think
possessed.
The house is haunted. You think the house is like haunted or possessed, when in reality, and it's interesting because the mother, I don't know if anybody's seen like Lovecraft Country, but she's on there. And she plays Journey Smollett's sister, and she can act her ass off. And I like seeing her in this movie because it's way different from her role in Lovecraft Country.
I've been meaning to watch Lovecraft.
Oh, you should. I think you'll like it. But what's interesting is the epath kind of presented itself to her, and it whispered to her and kind of like ended up telling her what it is and why it's there. One thing that was really interesting to me is the way he tried to assimilate to the culture, so he would let things. So he was like letting things slide. He changed his outfits. He started like going shopping, which is really funny because when he went to go shopping, it's so sterile and so like white in the store that it's a complete contrast from like where they live. Even like anything outside of that store, everything kind of looks like really dingy. So there's a part where he comes home and she's sitting on the floor and she's made food or whatever because she finally like went out and got some food. And she's eating with her fingers. So he goes to get silverware. And it's like little things like that. So she eats it and she's like, I can only taste the metal. So you'll get used to it. And it's like, what? And the fact that she was sitting on the floor and he wants to sit at a table, like even little things. Like
there
that,
was a very like small, it's very small nuances throughout the film, but it very plays into the assimilation of trying to stay in this place and becoming them. Like another where you really see that and notice it a little bit at the very, very beginning is when they tell them, oh, you're gonna be here, like you're gonna, we're gonna give you a house and everything. And he takes it as in like they are welcoming me, like they are letting me here, even though there's too many regulations and everything. He's not really taking account of that. He's like, whatever, at least I'm staying.
It's like it's better than being where I am.
But you see her face that she's like, what?
Right.
Like, really? So it's like small details here and there, like the clothes and like the silverware, the way that they're eating and everything, the way that they're behaving around things. You see that throughout the film.
And even the way he kind of like just ignores what she's telling him. Because she basically told him, she was like, an epath is a night witch, right?
It's like a night witch.
It's a night witch. And like she said that she was told a story about a man who accidentally stole from an epath. And that epath basically went where he went because it was like a house, like he took the home of a night witch, and the witch stayed there, and it kind of like tormented the man, and
it will torment the man until he pays his
you pay your sacrifice. And it's interesting because then he goes like burning his clothes, and he's like, he tries to start doing things because even he realizes that wait, there is something happening here, and I don't know what it is, even though he knew what it was.
He just didn't want to accept it. That was the thing.
And oddly enough, even her.
True.
It's like she knew.
She knew, but she didn't want to accept it either. But she was a little bit willing to.
It's almost like she didn't even remember the wrong that happened in a way. It's kind of like she kind of just, she in a way, she like fully assimilated to this idea of something that was not even her reality. So one of my favorite things in the movie is a shot. It is a shot where he is sitting at the table and she was sitting at the table with him. And then she leaves the table and it's like he's in the water That shot was so
yes,
pretty.
that was pretty.
And like he's just sitting out there in the middle of the water in the half of the wall there. I was like, oh.
Yes. The other thing that I was intriguing to is the way from the wall, the paper
just like peeled, a banana,
like a banana. Well, see, to me, it was more like a skin.
Yeah.
Like it's peeled like just like skin, and the way that it just went down, and then it has that hole and everything. It's like, fuck, this is creepy. And then it's like at the beginning where you feel that this house is haunted, it's alive, and it's like, how are you guys putting us in this haunted house? Like, how you guys never noticed this?
Right.
And one of the things is like, maybe just because you guys never lived here,
and also because truthfully it's, but you know what it makes me think about? Like when I was watching it, I was thinking about the ePath, and I was just thinking about like how if we're applying this, it's kind of like sins of our father. You know, basically you've taken this thing and you've stolen it, and now the spirits and all that stuff have kind of attached themselves to it. It makes you think about America.
True.
It's like, what if that were something like that in America, where you have Christopher Columbus or whatever like that, and he came to America and he stole this land from like Native Americans. And what if there was something like that where it attached itself to them, this country?
To this country, yeah. So that's
like that kind of thing. Like, what if that was something like it and what if it is? You know, you never know. Like, in a sense, it's like all this crazy shit that is happening is because of that. It's because they have not paid their debt. To the ePath, and until the ePath doesn't feel satisfied, is you have. But another thing that I like is when the ePath actually talks to him finally. When they actually have a conversation. And then it's like the ePath wants to get him and everything. And they're talking and whatnot. And then the guy realizes, it's like, you can't touch me. Yeah. You really can't do anything. Yeah, like there's nothing that you can do to me. The only way that you can do to me is I do something to me. Yeah. You can only like scare the shit out of me to make me do something. But you can't physically touch me. And I think that is interesting because it's just like, what I think is interesting about the ePath is that when she told him the story about the man who acted, because the thing is, it's not like he intentionally stole from the Night Witch. It's not like he intentionally took from the Night Witch. It didn't matter about your intent. No. It's the fact that you did it and it was to me, the Night Witch. So that's the thing that's interesting. And when we really get into it and you find out that the reason why this stuff is happening, it was a moment of desperation to get out of their country. It was a moment of desperation to find something better. The daughter is really not their daughter. The daughter is not their daughter. Yeah. And he was basically like, I have a child, like she's with us. And he took the child, and that wasn't even their child. I was telling Eddie, it made me think about Titanic. Because Titanic kind of did the same thing. It's like, I'm so desperate to get out of here and I need to go. I have a child. Yeah. It's like, that's not your kid. Like, but, people not knowing that they let him get on the bus and then, they took him wherever. So, but you notice that lady that is in the bus with the girl and she looks back and looks at her and it's like, you're not gonna do anything about it? Right. You're just gonna be okay with it? It's like you were complicit. Yeah. Like you didn't do it. He did it, but you were a part of it. That's why it took your ass through it too. It took him through it more, but it took you through it too. Yeah. And it's very intriguing how the movie really starts, because it starts like very weird, like what's going on, maybe there's this house is haunted and everything, but then later on you get this story and it's like, shit, then what do you guys do? Or who is the thief? Because the other thing is the way that this story is told, the folklore, because it's kind of more like a folklore. It is very much folklore. Is it just like you weren't the one that did something. Yeah. It's just a story that she heard and she wanted to say. It's very cautionary. But it's like, makes you question. And then you little by little then start to understand that no, this is actually about the girl and actually about him. So what the fuck did he stole? Yeah. And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going until you actually figure out that bitch, you stole the daughter. But the sense is like, you stole somebody else's life so you can have your life. Yeah. And that's what he didn't like. Yeah. The ePath didn't want that. So it's like, you need to pay. You can't just be here and be like this without recognizing that you made a mistake. And that was a very intriguing thing. Like, I love the movie because of the way that they did it. But I also love the movie because it made me realize something about horror films. That they are missing elements
that this movie just gets me. Yes, horror film back in the 90s, back in the 80s was intriguing and it was nice. And, you know, yes, you had those moments.
Goofy as fuck.
Yeah, some are goofies. This kind of gives a different perspective of what scary movies can actually be.
Yeah.
And I love that.
You know what it made me think about? It made me think about. So one thing I do wish a lot of like horror filmmakers would do is that they really should look more into folklore.
Yeah.
African folklore, Indian folklore, like even Japanese. Chinese,
that's another
because
thing.
they have the layers. There's so many layers, and the shit is terrifying.
And that's another thing.
And if you watch Lovecraft Country, they do that a little bit.
The other thing that I liked about this is that you kind of came into this world, you know, let's go to like England, and you brought this folklore from somewhere else, and you brought it into this, and then you made it still be part of that culture, but also kind of infused with you know, England.
Yeah.
And everything. And I love that. And I think that's one of the things that La Llorona miss. And I have to watch it because I haven't watched it. And one of the reasons,
like 12 of those damn movies.
Oh,
not like 12 of them. Yeah. I'm exaggerating, but they have like they made the main one, the one that came out that was like everywhere. But then there's like a bunch of like low budget ones after that are probably scarier.
But I didn't. One of the reasons I didn't watch it is because I felt like they were not going to portray the story of La Llorona the way that it should.
It's like they gentrified it.
Yes. So that's why I never watched it. And seeing this, it's like now I kind of understand why I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the story, The Yellow Wallpaper.
The Yellow Wallpaper, no.
It was about a man and a woman, and I want to say it was written by a woman, and it was about a man essentially saying that his wife was crazy. And there was this yellow wallpaper, and it was about like paranoia, denial, but it was also about the way that men manipulate women and make women think that they're crazy, or the way they could back in the day. They'd be like, oh, she just needs, here, take this, or oh, she's just a little off her rocker. Yeah. But it's like, no, she may have postpartum depression. She may, you may be just an abusive motherfucker, and she don't like that, And it kind of made me think about that, and made me think about a movie called Mother. But also, it really put me in the mind of like Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, yeah.
Like it made me feel like, because those are the things that I used to love about like Edgar Allan Poe. It's like the Telltale Heart with the heart beating under the floor.
Yes.
And it's like these things that really, it's almost like something is following you. Yeah. Something is tormenting you until you can be honest about what you've done.
Yes.
Which is like truthfully, if we're really talking about, it's like guilt.
Yeah, it really is guilt. Yeah, guilt personified
like guilt
into
has
something
manifested
else.
Itself.
Yeah, they brought this folklore into this modern world and how they mix it. It was true to the folklore. It was true to the stories of these immigrants that were coming into a new country. It was true to how it feels to come to a new country and how you kind of have to assimilate to these things for you to kind of be accepted, and how people just talked about you and how they treat you and everything. Even people that look the same as you, and because you have an accent, they make fun of you as well.
I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
Loved it.
And which is really rare because I have not been liking any other damn movies I've been watching lately.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't like it, and I hate that. I don't like being the person that doesn't like stuff when other people like it, because I don't have a problem with not like, but I hate because I have to tell you that I don't like it, and then people make it be like,
really?
Bitch. No, they be like, bitch, you don't like nothing. You always. Let me tell you something, huh?
I'm a filmmaker.
That's how I
Of
feel.
course I'm not gonna.
I like, I just want more for us.
Yeah. I want better quality.
I want better for us. I want
it's
better.
And we have not done this, but this movie gets a 5-star. It gets a Stark Native approval. Boop. Just boom. Boop. All right.
So I'm Omari.
And I'm Eddie.
And we are
the two voices of the week.
Stark Natives.
Our culture unfiltered. Discussing the way of this world
and the next. And Tony, tell them what they can do.
Do what? Oh, there. Oh, and what else? Oh, okay.
That's
so
right.
See, you need to do all that.
You
need to follow us on all those different areas, so that way you can hear us on Mondays. And then watch us on Fridays.
Yeah.
Okay?
And don't forget to watch HIS HOusE. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, you will.
It's on Netflix.
Especially if you love her.
And if you don't have Netflix, you know, if somebody got the password, go ahead and
Just
get on that
your
account and do that.
Yeah. And then make them watch it too.
Right.
All right.
All right, y'all.
Bye.